What is going on, guys? Coop here with our Week 12 APA Ascension Draft League game against Coach Blitz and the Toronto Tyranitars. It's our last regular season game, and we are wrapping up our playoff push. So we've already clinched playoffs at this point with our 8-3 record. But the reason this game is important is because right now I'm 4th in the standings, and Blitz is 5th. So, I think I mentioned before, the top 4 teams in this league get first round buys in the playoffs. I have a plus 26 differential, and Blitz has a plus 16 differential. So, and he's 7-4. So, if I lose to him, we're both 8-4, and then because APA determines position based on differential and then head to head, if I end up with a higher differential than he does, I end up taking that 4th spot. If I win, it doesn't matter. I end up taking the 3rd spot, and that's great. But really, I did the math, and so I need to lose 4-0 or better. If I am going to lose, I need to lose 4-0 or better in order to maintain my differential advantage and to keep my playoff spot. So we got a lot to play for. He's obviously going to be playing hard, and because he needs to 5-0 or 6-0 me in order to get the bye, and I need to not let that happen. But it's going to be hard to do because I was in Mexico all week with very limited internet access, so I was really only able to build right before we played, so I didn't get to put as much thought into my team as I usually do, which is unfortunate because obviously this is a really important game for both of us, so I would have liked to be a little bit more prepped for this, but what can you do? And second thing that's making this hard is look at his team. He's got a really, really, really well-drafted team. He's got phenomenal speed tiers, 3 things that are faster than my entire team in Tornado T, Weavile, Mega Manetric, with Mega Main and Torn T forming a nice Volt Turn offense core. And then Torn T is also filling in as his attack Z mover, so it's got a lot of good coverage, so it's a pretty good Z mover. And it also fits in a nice regen core with Amoonguss and Slowking, who themselves are part of a really bulky squad of Skarmory, Amoonguss, and Slowking. And then, of course, Blitz also just has some nice, solid special attackers that hit super hard in Kyurem and Nidoking. So he's just got a lot of Pokemon that are super hard to switch into. And just he's got a lot of good mini cores, options, stuff like that. So his team is really good. It's going to be hard to fight, but we will do our best with our team. So now, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into what I brought and why I brought it. So, first off, as usual, I've brought it every single game, and that's not going to change for our last week. Mega Dynasty, Rocking the Rock, another Rock Polish set. We've got enough speed for Kyurem, and then a little bit of extra speed just in case my opponent expects me to speed creep the Kyurem, and then just drops a little bit of speed on one of his faster Pokemon. Just enough, he drops enough speed in order to outrun a Dynasty outrunning Kyurem. So, figured it wasn't going to cost me that many EV points to spare 8 or 12 EVs just to try and prevent something like that happening. But the fact that I don't have to run max speed does open me up to run a lot of attack investment, which is going to be nice for my Diamond Storm because that Diamond Storm is going to do so much damage to stuff like Amoonguss and Slowking. So that's really why the Diamond Storm is there, because if my opponent does opt to bring something like AV Slowking, our Diamond Storm is going to 2-hit KO it. I think it definitely KOs after rocks if my opponent has a good amount of Fizz Def in his Slowking. And then the Amoonguss, Amoonguss, no matter what, if he brings physically defensive Amoonguss, the Diamond Storm isn't going to KO, 2-hit KO, but then Psychic will KO it, and if he's specially defensive, the Diamond Storm easily 2-hit KOs it, so yeah, that's why we're running that. Psychic there for Amoonguss and Nidoking, and then Moonblast there just because it's a solid stab. I mean, it's going to kill Weavile. Does a ton to Granbull, Golurk, Mega Manetric. Does a pretty good chunk to Slowking, Kyurem. Although we have Diamond Storm for pretty much everything too. The one thing this thing can't really beat is Skarmory, so that's why we have, you'll see it later. We do have some options for Skarmory, including our next Pokemon. We got a nice Fire Blast Skuntank, rocking the 4 attacks Assault Vest. We are not running a minus special attack nature, running minus speed just so I can have a little bit more special attack output, 20 EVs to make sure that I can 2-hit KO 0 Spadef Skarmory, although I do expect him to bring some Spadef on his Skarm in order to avoid getting to a KO from random Fire Blast from, stuff like Skuntank. Just seems like pretty reasonable prep for my opponent to do. But really, our Skuntank is here to get rid of the Slowking, because if we can get rid of Slowking, it really does open up Diancie a lot more in the endgame. I got Pursuit and Crunch, so I can, either Pursuit drop the Slowking, or if I predict it to stay in, I can Crunch it for a lot more damage. And then finally, our last move, we got Explosion. Explosion is actually super nice against a lot of my opponent's bulkier or more offensive options. With Stealth Rocks up, Explosion is going to OHKO stuff like Tornti, Nidoking, Manectric, so that goes a long way towards making sure that I can pick up a KO and a big threat, and put myself in a position where it's easier for me to just get the 2 KOs I need to guarantee my bye. So, yeah, that's our Skuntank. Really just there for the Slowking, and then try to boom on something to get a nice another KO. One potential win con for us is going to be our Snorlax here, with the Figgy Berry Gluttony Recycle set, giving this thing pretty reliable recovery, and then Curse boosting its a little bit weaker defense stat, just to make this thing pretty much an unkillable tank. I gave it enough attack so that I could KO Weavile with +1 return, and then we got Fire Punch there. Really just to make sure that we can hit stuff like the Skarmory harder. Like +6 return only does like 50% to Fizz Def Skarm, so yeah, that's really the main reason why Fire Punch is there. Return actually does slightly more to the Amoonguss, so yeah, you can click Fire Punch against the Amoonguss and hope to like burn it or something, but return does like a % more, but it doesn't really matter what you click against it. We got enough HP and defense to make sure we can live Z Superpower from Tornadus T. And then just our rest dumped into Spadef to make sure we can take hits from stuff like Manectric and Nidoking and Kyurem a little bit better. But yeah, if we can get rid of something like Clear Smog Amoonguss, or get rid of some toxic users, this Snorlax is going to be pretty unstoppable. So that's kind of what I'm hoping for. If I can get rid of some threats, Snorlax can just hopefully win. And towards that end, as I mentioned, stuff like Skuntank, as well as just beating this Volt Turn core is going to be really dependent on getting Hazard's Chip on stuff. So we do have Ferrothorn here to set up Stealth Rocks for us. Got Leech Seed for a little bit of recovery for Ferrothorn, Gyro Ball just being the best stab option. And then Knockoff here. Knockoff is really there just to get rid of something like Shed Shell and Skarmory so that I can trap it with my Magneton. As you can see, that is our 5th Pokemon. But this Ferrothorn got enough Spadef and HP to live Z Focus Blast and Z Heat Wave with the Octoberry from Tornadus T, and then just the rest into defense to take hits from Weavile a little bit better. Yeah, that's our Ferrothorn. Our next Pokemon, Magneton, rocking the Choice Scarf with enough speed for the Weavile. Got nice stab options and Flash Cannon and Thunderbolt, and then Volt Switch just for momentum. And then T-Wave just because Paralysis is a broken status condition, and if you paralyze something, it's dead. Everybody knows this. And I guess Hacks is a win con, right? So that's our Magneton here. It's going to be nice. My opponent doesn't really have too many good switch-ins to this thing, so if I just can get my predicts right, click Flash Cannon and Thunderbolt at the appropriate times, or Flash Cannon and Volt Switch at the appropriate times, we're going to be able to keep momentum up or pick up KOs and stuff. So that's pretty awesome, and that's definitely going to be my goal. And finally, our last Pokemon, Blastoise. I decided to bring this over anything else just that I could have a Rapid Spin option in case the Skarmory is trying to Hazard stack, since it can set up hazards pretty effectively against Diancie, actually. But yeah, because if I get my rocks up, I want to keep my rocks up, and I don't want him to have hazards up, so that's why we brought a Rapid Spinner instead of one of our T-Foggers. Got Scald's our best stab option, and then Aura Sphere really there just to make sure I can KO the Weavile and do a bit more to stuff like Kyurem as well. And then refresh there just in case of random toxics. We've also got enough Spadef for 2 Sludge Waves from Nidoking. Yeah, 2 Sludge Waves from Nidoking, and then just the rest into defense. So yeah, that's our team. Hopefully it is going to work out for us. But let's go ahead and just get into the battle. So here we are, Blitz's team. It does bring a lot of what I expected. Does have the main, the Weavile, the Torn. He does bring 2 of the bulky Pokemon like I expected. He does bring Amoonguss and Skarm. So I was expecting Slowking Skarm or Slowking Amoonguss. But this works too. And then the Golurk there over the Nidoking. Yeah, so kind of close to what I expected him to bring. Looking at this matchup though, I really didn't bring a good lead for Manectric, so I'm actually just going to leave off Skuntank. It's my Assault Vest Pokemon. I expect him to leave Manectric because getting that Mega off and then just being able to Volt Switch out, or just click a super effective move against something like Ferrothorn or Magneton, turn 1 is pretty nice for him. So I figured, okay, let me lead off with my Assault Vest. I can click Pursuit on the main and get off like 33% on that. It's going to go a long way towards breaking down that Voltron core, as well as just putting in range of other attacks from stuff like Rock Polish Diancie, and you know, just chipping it down for repeated hits from Magnezone or Snorlax or you know, even Blastoise. You can't really switch into it after a while. So I'll go ahead and lead off with the Skuntank. Expecting the Manectric, and let's go ahead and get into it. So, like I said, lead off Skuntank as he does lead off with Golurk here. Obviously, if I stay in, he will just OHKO me with Earthquake. But I kind of felt like, you know, this is a good opportunity for you to get up Stealth Rocks. I can kind of understand why you lead this, because this Pokemon is bulky enough to live a hit from Mega Diancie. So, if you do expect me to lead Mega Diancie, you can get up your rocks on this thing. Like, you just Earthquake turn 1, and then you click rocks the next. Like, if I'm Protect, if I Protect on the Earthquake, then you just get up your rocks the next turn, and it ends up being a pretty good exchange for you. But I figured he'd expect me to not want to stay in on this thing, and that he would just go for Stealth Rocks here. So I end up going out to my Ferrothorn here to try and get up rocks of my own, and to force this thing out or get a little bit of chip off on it, either way. So I'm going to go out to Ferrothorn here as my opponent goes for Earthquake and does 55%, which ends up being a max roll Adamant Choice Band Golurk. So because of the max roll, I can't live. I have 0 chance to live this next hit. So I'm going to switch out into my Blastoise because I still need Ferrothorn to get up rocks. So I'm going to go Blastoise. Blastoise is relatively useless this game, and I can kind of eat the hit and threaten this thing out with the Scald. So I'm going to go for the Scald here. I do 7% to the Amoonguss, no burn. The 7% does tell me this thing probably is like Aviamoonguss, but I wasn't 100% sure at the time. I was still treating this as if it was maybe just Spit F Amoonguss. But I'm going to switch out here, go out to Ferrothorn, figure this is a decent opportunity for me to get up my rocks on the Giga Drain. And if he goes Giga Drain, HP Fire, I will live it, and I can get up my rocks. So, yeah. But he makes an aggressive play, goes Manectric. I'm not really sure what he was expecting there. I'm not really sure why he switched out, but he does. He goes up main. Here I expect the Flamethrower to come out, so I am just going to go back into my Skuntank on this guy, as he actually throws off Toxic with Manectric, so pretty aggressive play, expecting something like Snorlax to come out. But as I mentioned, getting chip off on this thing is big, so I'm just going to go for the Pursuit as he Volt Switches out here. Get off a nice 33% on the Manectric, so that's great. As he's going to go Amoonguss here. And again, I wasn't super sure what this thing's set was, but I felt like, you know, Amoonguss doesn't really have a good matchup against Skuntank. If he's Assault Vest, he can't Spore me. And he can't really do a whole lot of damage to me otherwise, because I'm Assault Vest, so, and I resist this Giga Drain, I resist Sludge Bomb, so I was kind of banking on the fact that he wouldn't, either A, wouldn't have Spore, or B, was like Assault Vest and couldn't Spore. So I'm actually going to stay in with my Skuntank here and just throw off a Fire Blast, because, you know, I'm intimidated, so my attacks aren't going to do a whole lot, and I figured he's been playing pretty aggressively, and so this might be my chance to try and punish him for something, because you know, I brought in the Ferrothorn the last time, and, you know, Ferrothorn does kind of give free switch-ins to stuff like Tornti, or to Weavile with, like, Choice Band Knockoff, or Low Kick, or Manectric, and again, if I could just get off a little bit more chip on some of these Pokemon, it is going to open me up a lot more in the late game. So, I'm just going to throw off a Fire Blast here, figuring he could also potentially even go Skarmory. He does go Skarm, I Fire Blast, and I miss, so I don't get to see my damage output on this thing, which really sucks. But I figured he'd probably be scared of the Fire Blast and would switch out, but I figured it was still probably my best play just to go for it again. As he goes Torn, and I miss again, so great. Good start to this game. 2 85% moves missing, back to back. Just, you know, great. But he does go Torn. And here, I'm just going to like to go out to my Blastoise that don't really need that Pokemon, and I'd like to get a safe switch into this thing. So he goes for the Blast. I go Blastoise on the all-out pummeling, so I'm not sure if that was Z Focus Blast or Z Superpower. Probably was Z Superpower. I feel like Z superpower is better, especially against Snorlax, since it does have really weak Fizz Def, but not 100% sure on that. But I do actually end up living, which is nice because I can keep this as a sack for late game. I'm just actually going to go back out to Skuntank, expecting him to U-turn out here, which he does do. He goes Weavile, and here I was like, okay, well, I could just explode and like kill this thing. But I feel like he's going to go Icicle Crash and knock me out, especially if he's Choice Band. So I'll just sack my Blastoise here, and that gives me a free switch in afterwards. So yeah, he just go for the knockoff, knocks me out. Obviously, I can't tell anything about his set. I don't see the Life Orb, but yeah. But I figure, okay, this is a good chance for me to get in my Magneton here. Choice Scarf, I'm passing this thing. I can just, or I can threaten this thing out with the Flash Cannon. So realistically, because I can just OHKO this thing with Flash Cannon, I can just go for the Volt Switch because your play should be to your Amoonguss. It's a pretty good check to the Magneton either way. So I figure I can go out to this Volt Switch and get in something else to get out my rocks. But he makes the play of going Golurk, which ends up being really good for him because if he's bulky, he will live to Flash Cannon. So like I understand the play. I don't think you need to make this play. You're winning by a lot and you have a lot of momentum. Like you might as well just go with the Amoonguss. I don't really deal with the Amoonguss super well. And like I said, it's just a good pivot for him. You don't risk the Golurk. Like if I was something weird like Choice Specs Magneton, you're just giving me your Golurk to 2 Flash Cannons when you could have just gone Amoonguss and easily lived even Flash Cannon or even Specs Flash Cannon. So I didn't really like that play, but it works out for him. I have no switch-ins to this, so I got to make another sack. I'm gonna sack the Ferrothorn off, so rip rocks. And here I can't kill this thing with anything, so I just gotta go Skuntank and bite the bullet, sack another Pokemon to get off damage to put this thing in range of Magneton or Snorlax or Diancie late game. But here I can go out to Diancie here and just knock this thing out. I was considering clicking, so I ended up clicking Moonblast on this turn. I was considering clicking Psychic or Diamond Storm, even Diamond Storm, but I wasn't 100% sure Diamond Storm would knock this thing out. I knew Psychic would kill it, but I was afraid of him trying to go something like Manectric or, you know, just making another switch for Psychic wasn't really a great play. But hindsight, I probably should have clicked Psychic. But yeah, so I'm just going to click Moonblast as the Amoonguss comes out. I do 18% to it, which is not a lot, but obviously I wish I clicked Diamond Storm or Psychic because I would have been able to 2-hit KO this thing and probably gotten a kill. So yeah, I go for the Diamond Storm. I do live his Giga Drain here, and he's still in range of my Diamond Storm, so I do predict him to switch out. So I'm actually going to go for the Rock Polish here, hoping that I can maybe get something going. But he goes Scarm, and yeah, I can't kill this thing. I got to go for Diamond Storm, hope he doesn't have Iron Head, but he does, and he's going to knock me out with the Iron Head. So that sucks. Down to 2 Pokemon. This avoiding this 5-0 loss is looking pretty bad right now, but I still have a chance. I go out to Magneton. I can click Volt Switch here. I get super low rolled on the Volt Switch because I know he's got a lot of. I know he has a lot of Speed Def, but that was a low roll on the Volt Switch, so I don't actually even knock the Skarmory out. But this isn't the worst case because now I can bring in Snorlax here, and I can click my Curse here, which is super nice. So I get my Curse up. Unfortunately, he goes for the Clear Smog and removes that, but yeah, that was unfortunate. I do end up creating the Fire Punch. So I knew the Amoonguss was going to get chased out because he needs to regen, and he can't let me get another KO. He really doesn't want to let me KO. He's got to play for differential. So I figured this is a good chance for me to get up a Curse here as Manectric comes out. And it is going to throw off Toxic. He misses as I go for Fire Punch here. Put this thing in range of return. He goes for another Toxic and connects this time. I knock him out with the return though. So we're at 5-0. I just got to pick up one more KO and we are good to go. He goes Golurk here and yeah, so I knew this thing was going to be no guard Choice Band Dynamic Punch. Like after I saw it was Choice Band, I knew he was going to have no guard Dynamic Punch for the Snorlax. But because of the +1 defense, I knew I was going to live it. And with my Berry, even after the Toxic, I should live another hit. And I was going to be able to 2-hit KO this thing with Fire Punch. And honestly, like, so here's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, so if I can 2-hit KO this Pokemon, like assuming I don't get confused, if I 2-hit KO this Pokemon, I actually put myself in a really good position because what's going to happen is, I know he's playing for differential, so I can Fire Punch here. If he ends up living it, what I can do the next turn then is just go for the return because he has to switch out. And then it's going to be up to my Magneton just to pick up one more KO. And like I should be able to lock myself with the Flash Cannon and pick up one KO. And we'll be good to go. However, he crits me with the Dynamic Punch. So forget all about that plan. So now I just have to hope Magneton gets a little bit lucky with the Flash Cannon here. I could get a Spadef drop or something. He goes Amoonguss, takes 24%, so that does confirm that it is Assault Vest. Go for the Flash Cannon here. I don't get the drop. He's regened up that Amoonguss, so now it's out of range of Flash Cannon. Gotta pray for the crit here. I don't get it. He's going to U-turn out into Amoonguss. And yeah, I'm going to click Flash Cannon here. I don't get a crit, don't get a drop. He's going to Giga Drain, so he's now out of range of getting KO'd from the Flash Cannon. I go for it. He lives and knocks me out. So he ends up picking up the 5-0 win, which really sucks. So yeah, my opponent ends up picking up the ends up getting the bye over me. I didn't bring the right team this week. Definitely wish I had more time to prep. I definitely would have brought some different stuff and, you know, hopefully had a bit better matchup for myself. But what can you do? My opponent, you know, props to them. They brought exactly what they needed to bring. They played as aggressively as they needed to play, and, you know, they ended up getting the bye. They definitely earned it. So yeah, it actually works out kind of well because, you know, I missed the bye, but we're the 5th seed. My opponent's the 4th seed. So, you know, it's not the worst thing in the world because I get to bring you guys some more APA content next week instead of just having a bye to sit on my butt and not have to play. So we got a playoff game next week, so get hyped for that. And if we end up winning that, we're actually going to get a rematch against this guy. So hopefully we can get some revenge and in the playoffs and keep moving on. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you next week for playoffs. But until then, peace.